I've talked before about your recruitment hinterland, and I want to focus on that now. So aside from importing migrants or live-in care workers, you really are recruiting from the local area. In almost every case, your future staff are going to come from a very local area. And so the starting point is to know where your current staff live. How far are they travelling into work? And if they're in home care, of course, that'll be to their first client and their furthest client, and then, you know, the total distance and area they cover. But for many care settings, it's a single point that people are travelling into. So how far are they travelling? In the UK, this seems to be about 6 miles or less, much less in urban areas, can be, you know, an average of half of that. But it'll vary country to country. In big rural areas, then the distance may be much more. But as a general rule, frontline care staff who are paid, you know, relatively low wages are not going to be travelling too far to come to work. So then that means we need to look at our transport links and physical barriers, such as motorways and rivers, because they can have a psychological effect on people about whether they feel able or willing to make that journey every day. Even non-topographical features, like having a dialing code for your business that is non-local, sometimes can put people off. So always try and use a local number if you can. But the first thing I'd like you to do is to plot your staff addresses on a map. And if you have a single setting that they're going to, you can plot that too. On Google Maps is what I recommend. And if you download the cheat sheet, it explains exactly how to do this if you're not familiar with how to plot multiple pins on a map. So you need to get a spreadsheet of your staff postcodes or addresses, and you can then go ahead and do this. And it's a very illuminating thing to do. So once you get that, you'll see, I would expect, clusters of where staff are living. And that may give you a clue as to where we could get more people who fit the same demographic profile. So thinking about how far people are travelling, the modes of transport they use, how long the commute is, and if they are clustered in certain areas, could give you a clue as to where to focus recruitment efforts in the future. Another thing you need to consider is your setting and your hinterland, whether that is built up, whether it's urban in the city, whether it's combination of town and countryside, or whether it's really quite rural or mainly suburban. And that will have an impact. And I've done some analysis for you, so I recommend you download the other cheat sheet listed here that covers those characteristics of each urban setting, the level of urban development and what impact that might have in terms of how long people stay and the sorts of things you need to consider when you're recruiting. So good luck with both of those two things. I think you'll find it's a really interesting experience to start really understanding your recruitment hinterland and the impact that will have on how you recruit in the future.